Welcome back to the Live for Life podcast. I'm here with G-Dog, who forgot his iron once again. It's a wonderful evening, isn't it, G-Dog?
But I think the issue with these polo shirts, Ralph Lauren, please sponsor us, is that they are not needing ironing.
That's a lie.
This looks amazing, even
It
though it's
really
not
doesn't.
ironed. It's been scrumpled up at the bottom of my rucksack all day. I took it out, and then suddenly, immaculate.
Not sure about that.
But anyway, my pecs are so firm, it just stretches the material.
How amazing is it to see how many people think you should have a beard?
I don't think I will, but I have contemplated, and this episode is probably going to come out after this, but I have contemplated growing a slight beard ahead of Angus's Cornwall thing in the summer.
Could be quite cool.
I was going to see what could I do in a week. I mean, it's probably going to like Father Christmas after a week, the way that my beard grows.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
it would be cool.
If Father Christmas
all the
turns
fans,
up in Cornwall.
Literally, I've never had so many votes on a poll because obviously you're the most
It was
famous
quite worrying, actually. Angus sent me the data. I was like, how many? All these people are voting for me. This is ridiculous. And voting against me.
But it's not against you. They just think you could be another level.
Jason Statham, G-Dog.
Yeah, and then I got sent, obviously, The Rock as well.
Yeah.
He's gone for the beard. But we've got to wax the head combo.
The head waxing is just not good. I think.
Well, it is.
It's a real risk that it becomes shiny. It wouldn't work in the studio. I'd have to powder my head.
Any other news, G-Dog?
Well, by the time this episode goes out, I will have been on my summer holidays and you will have probably worked from abroad or something.
Well, it's hot in here, that's for sure. I'm in my shorts still. That was commented on my last episode.
Is this the first time you've done an episode in the shorts?
Second, because the last episode, obviously.
Has someone commented on it?
Yeah. Even though the episode's not out yet. But I was just like, if I'm going to walk to the studio, because I need to hit my 15,000 steps and get up the leaderboard, which you're struggling with the chat.
So when are you actually going to sell your incredible car? Because you have to walk so much, you're not using the car anymore.
Well, I am. I went and played golf today.
So you're literally trying to contrive moments to use the car.
Client golf trips, yeah. Which is a genius thing to do. Any clients, American, wherever you are in the world, if you want to come over and play some golf, it's a really good way of actually... You know, one of the things on the golf course as well, which you'll miss out on because you're so mal-coordinated, is those conversations on the golf course are just spectacular when you're hacking in the woodland.
I think when we did the men's mental health thing, we talked about this, that men are very bad, apart from us for some reason, very bad at communicating face to face and much better at communicating side by side when they're looking into the distance. So I guess on a golf course, that's the perfect moment for man-to-man communication.
So maybe when we sit and have dinner, or maybe when we do the podcast, we actually face away from each other and just talk.
Maybe
we could get even deeper.
We'd go really deep. My God, that'd be scary if we went deeper.
Anyway, should we crack on with the podcast now?
Let's go.
This is going to be a fun episode because there's an obvious answer to it, but I'm sure G-Dog has some points he would like to make to see whether you should or not. But the topic is, should everyone hire a coach? Now, I'm going to start things before G-Dog butts in. And I'm going to say, in an ideal world, yes, you should hire a coach. And at some point, I think it's absolutely pivotal that you invest in your fitness journey in a form of coaching because you can, A, never learn enough, and B, the self-belief that coaching can give you when working with the right coach, as I would like to say, G-Dog has gone through, can be utterly transformational in the best way possible. Right, G-Dog?
Yes, absolutely. But I think everyone will be expecting this podcast to say what you've just said. So I thought we should start with the opposite.
Absolutely.
So for a start, in the UK, and I think it's pretty much the same in other countries, the PT qualification is a problem. So a level 3 personal training certificate, which Angus has got and Angus knows all about, can be completed in 6 to 12 weeks. It covers the basics, does not produce experts. It can not distinguish between, or you can't distinguish between a 6-week certificate and a decade of applied sports science when you first meet the trainer. So a 2014 survey in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found significant knowledge gaps, and we know this obviously, amongst certified personal trainers. So people may say they're certified personal trainers, but they don't have the knowledge of other certified personal trainers. The biggest gaps are in physiology, nutritional science, behavioral change analysis. And these are the three areas that people hiring a personal trainer need most. So if you're hiring a personal trainer and you just see loads of transformational photos on their Instagram, are you sure they have physiology experience, nutritional experience, and are good at behavioral change? Of course not. So you need to get to know the personal trainer. So a personal trainer per se is not necessarily a good thing. It can actually be negative because you're getting one that's bad. So trying to judge a good personal trainer from a bad personal trainer is the most important thing. The other thing is, Angus, it can create dependency. So some coaches create clients who can't cope without them. The goal of a great coach should be to make themselves unnecessary.
I think that's wrong.
It shouldn't be to make them the client totally dependent on them.
See, do
They
you know
should
what?
educate and build autonomy.
I actually had this conversation with someone the other day, another trainer, and they had this belief that at some point the trainer should move the client on, which I fundamentally disagree with, simply because the coaching journey can always be evolving. And if you get to know someone better and better, you build a friendship, which a good friend would always hold the other person accountable and support them towards their goals. So if it's just from a fitness perspective, so just from a program, and you feel like you're just getting a program and you're not getting support, and they don't feel like you're driving on in life, that might be a point where you go, well, actually, I don't feel like I'm getting enough out of this. But to me, I think where I would differ if someone was to ask me is, to me, coaching is so much more than just a training plan and a meal plan. Like, I want to get to know you. I want you to live your best life. And I think the trainers who say that, all they care about is getting someone from A to B on a physical result. And they actually don't want to do the groundwork to get to know you, in my opinion.
But you know how you always say that the problem with me is I want to jump off the boat, right? So whenever I personally start to feel too dependent on Angus, I try to jump off the boat.
But how have I kept you on the boat?
I know exactly. But on this, it's basically implying that Angus might see me as becoming too dependent on him and throw me off the boat.
I think I would have done that a long time ago because you are so dependent on me. We have gone from holidays to fashion choices to food choices to basically being a full-time therapist to organizing stuff. I am everything to G-Dog.
We have joint bank account, we have joint company.
Yeah. G-Dog is so locked in. The podcast, everything. Every part of his life is literally, I'm, the puppet master.
But the other things are, there's three more negatives, right? There's an online coaching explosion. Obviously, Angus has his own online coaching business. So you can argue that you don't need a personal PT because you can do an online one. Also, the cost. So, Angus is far more expensive than this, but it says the PT sessions in London only cost from 50 to 150 an hour. They clearly don't know Angus. Anyway, so it said for most people, even 150 an hour is not sustainable. I mean, how do your clients cope? So the question becomes, is the alternative actually worse, or is it just less comfortable? Anyway, then the final one is self-directed alternatives can work. A bit skeptical myself. They talk about Ozempic, self-directed alternative to coaching. That's weird. Anyway, that's one example. But then also they say that you can get PDF forms written by qualified coaches, which are publicly available for under £30, and you can buy them from a shop. I mean, I just think that is totally not a good alternative. But those are the cases against having having a PT. I disagree with many of those. And I think the core of it is that a great coach, as I have discovered, can change your life, whereas a bad one will take your money, teach you nothing, and leave you injured.
Maybe that's what I should have done. Just left a wounded dog before he even became G-Dog. But no, I agree with majority of the points you made.
But the one final sentence I could not stop giggling at. So, coaching is a tool, not a requirement. So the question is, do you need this tool? It's like Angus is a tool. I know it sounds quite funny. Sorry, you don't get it. But for me, it's like, do I need this?
There was another quote you made the other day, which you thought was really funny. And I was like, it's not that funny.
Well, you said to me, I'm only funny when I'm not trying to be funny.
Yeah, so when you try to be funny, though, you're not funny. But you know what the big thing that people, when I talk to them, immediately, of course, when it comes to online coaching, and sometimes they might be put off by the price of things. But the big thing I always say is like, it saves you so much time and money in the long run. Because think how many times you've started like a fad diet, or you've bought a supplement, or you've tried new workout classes and it's not worked. And when you actually add up all the money you've spent over the years, then coaching over, let's say, a 6 month to a year period doesn't seem like that much. And I think the big issue I have and I'm facing in the fitness industry, and where I'm very fortunate, is I've been able to create a more unique brand with highlighting myself as the 80-20 guy, with having a podcast with a client of nearly 8 years. That has made me being able to stand out. But I do feel sorry for a lot of the coaches that aren't as, let's say, media savvy, because they are falling by the wayside, because there are some shocking coaches out there. But one thing I plead to listeners is, don't let one bad experience put you off, because there are so many good coaches out there. And even if it's not with me, I really, really like, do your research like G-Dog did. I put out an Instagram advert, and you said you followed me for a good few weeks.
I think it's months, actually. It's probably 3 months.
Exactly. And you really had a look through profiles, and you did actually compare me to others as well, and looked at others. And he took his time. So if you have just started listening to the podcast, listen to some more episodes, find out some more about me, and always do the work in the sense of message someone and go, hey, I'd love to have a quick chat about how your coaching works. You can do that with people. And I think that's something that people really hold back from doing, which I don't really understand why. And I think it might be intimidation. I don't know.
True. But I think also people who haven't had a coach before don't really understand what coaching actually really is.
That's true.
So they say, okay, it's about creating a program and counting reps. And that's so not true.
No.
Because a genuinely good coach, in my view, you have the programming, you have technique correction, which is, even after 8 years, still very important with me. You have nutritional guidance, which obviously happened in my first week with Angus. You've got the accountability structures. He's constantly messaging me saying I'm not doing enough steps. You also have psychological support. Angus, obviously, he knows the stresses that I go under, and sometimes he deliberately does the opposite of psychological support, baits me. But also the accountability is important. So I didn't even know this existed, but there's a university in Staffordshire called Staffordshire University, which is a sort of bizarre place in sort of northern England. And
what have you gone for Stafford?
I don't know.
What's
it came up in my research. I was like,
but why have you just said it's some bizarre place in the north of England?
It's a place you stop off in a train. It's not a place. No one actually goes there, right?
It's
like the train just stops there and no one gets off. Anyway, So anyway.
That is just horrendous. I would like to
all the
apologise
Stafford
to
listeners
the
were
people
sorry.
of Stafford.
There's clearly are some people that might live there but don't get on North trains.
It's a good service station, actually.
Okay, right, okay. Anyway, so there's a university there apparently, right? But they analysed. They did 138 studies. They always had a lot of time on their hands. 138 studies on goal pursuit. Because I typed in, give me some studies on accountability, and this university said that monitoring progress towards goals, which is what a good coach should do, is particularly important when someone else can see what you're doing. That dramatically increased the achievements of the people in the study. And coaching effectively operationalizes this process. It's not haphazard. It's being operationalized accountability via the use of a coach. And that's really, really important. And I think the other thing I referred to just now on injury prevention is really, really critical. And as you were saying, when you've sort of lost your phone or you forgot your programming and you sort of, even you with all of your experience, sort of forgot what your exercise program was going to be because your phone broke. Imagine what it's like if someone's never had that program before and they're trying to make it up themselves. Then, of course, their technique is going to be potentially dodgy. They're going to have some injury. And so it's, again, another study. This is in the US National Strength and Conditioning Association, which we've quoted many, many times on the pod. And they found that supervised resistance training significantly reduced injury rates. It should be so obvious versus unsupervised stuff. And poor technique, particularly on compound lifts, which are squat, deadlift, and bench press. I mean, it's really, really obvious. And you're dropping a dumbbell on your head or hurting your back on a squat or hurting your back on a deadlift, of course, is the single biggest injury risk for gym goers. And if you injure yourself, you're then not going to carry on your training because you say, every time I do it, I get injured. So I think really fixing a coach, at least for the first few sessions on your journey, is crucial to prevent yourself from getting injured.
Absolutely. So how would you advise someone to go about finding their coach, G-Dog?
So I think finding a coach should be very similar to finding a therapist. You basically think, I am going to effectively unload to this person. And I don't want to have to do that again and again and again to a lot of different people. So at the beginning, find someone that you think you're going to bond with. Don't just think they've got some good transformation photos. I'm going to go and hire that coach. Think, am I going to get on with this person?
Because any trainer can help you get in shape.
Yeah.
Any trainer. And they can give you a plan and they can give you the ingredients as such to push you in the right direction. But you have to get on with them. And you have to feel like you can reach out anytime. It's absolutely pivotal. I guess with therapy, what's slightly different is you're not going to get loads of testimonials, are you? So you can't see that. But one of the things that I like to do if someone is on the fence is I would say, well, here's so-and-so's number. Let's set up a group chat so you can have a conversation with a client who's already in the service. So one of the things I'd really look into, and as you said to there, the transformations, not only them, but the video testimonials that are left. And one of the things that I say with real confidence is I rarely see on many coaches' profiles 5-minute long videos like I get that are posted from people all around the world. And when I watch those videos, even I go, wow, like it's so incredible that someone's saying that about my service. And I take such pride in that. So just have a real watch of what they're saying. If they're just saying in there, I lost this, or I built this, or I physically changed like this, that's not good enough. If they're saying things like, it has totally transformed how I approach my day-to-day life, I feel like a totally different human, I feel a level of confidence I've never felt before. Those are the things, because if I could take anything from your transformation, from Ben's, from Caleb's, from Sam's, whoever, just listing names off the top of my head, it's the feeling. I can't package that up, but look to find the feeling that people are getting, not just the physical transformation.
Yeah, it's so true. And to find a trainer that can do that obviously involves research. You can't just find that immediately off Instagram. And I suppose I found Angus after 3 months of following a whole series of trainers and thought he is the most likely person that I will get on with, but I wasn't sure. And then when I first met him, I was a bit nervous. I was like, I recognize this guy from Instagram, but what's he going to be like in real life? Is he going to be really like that in real life? You don't know.
Yeah.
So you book a few trial sessions, just see if it's working. And then if it works, then obviously you carry on. But I think you've got to it's like anything in life. You've got to do your preparation, do your research, and then do your practical experience to see if it works and see if it matches. But if you haven't done your preparation beforehand, you're sort of setting yourself up for potential failure. So at least reduce the failure risk by doing the prep beforehand on just studying them and trying to follow them and see what they talk about and see the sort of person they are and whether, you look at them on Instagram or on YouTube and they actually start to irritate you after a while, then you realize if it's irritating you online, it's definitely going to irritate you when it's live. So that's important. The other thing I think about when I think about a trainer is the reason it's important is because of the programming expertise. And if you don't have a trainer, sure, you can download something off the internet, but it's not going to be personalized. So having a program that's personalized to you for your lifestyle, for the time you have, for your family commitments, for your work commitments is really crucial. Now, maybe you can try and do that via AI, but I think it comes down to a conversation with you. It's quite critical, I think, to understand that. And I think the return on investment for having a coach is at its highest in the first sort of 6 to 12 weeks for a complete beginner, because in that first 6 to 12 weeks, then you can learn the technique and so on. So if you feel you haven't got enough money, then investing one for 6 to 12 weeks is a way of actually getting the processes set up. But I would argue actually you need it for a full 12 months to see real sort of gains. And then finally, for an intermediate person, so if you go to the gym a little bit like I used to do, you find that your progress stalls, and then a coach can sort of explain why it's stalling and how to ramp it up. The whole sort of, push to failure, leaving reps in reserve, focusing on your mind-muscle connection, having a proper structure with different muscle groups on different days. That sort of thing, you really need a coach, I think, to do that. So even I would argue that it's important for a beginner to have a coach for the introduction and getting the basics right and preventing injury. But I think the intermediate level that it was even more valuable, because then I really learned how to do what I was doing more effectively.
Dramatic pause. I kind of actually sensed it coming, but I wanted it to happen. Is there anything else you'd like to add there, G-Dog?
I'm looking at the rest of my notes. I think I did a big circle around red flags and green flags.
Hit me.
So there is a series of red flags with coaches. So if you see the following, avoid the coach like the plague. Number 1, they try to sell you supplements. Number 2, they prescribe exactly the same program, maybe with different reps and weights, to exactly all clients. Exactly the same program to all clients.
That would be so boring to coach like that.
Boring, yeah. Also, they can't explain why they've given you the exercises they've given you.
Yeah, why have you given me 100 burpees?
They demonstrate all of the quality of their product purely via transformation photos, nothing else. And critically, in my view, they don't ask you about your sleep. They don't ask you about your stress. They don't ask you about your nutrition. If you get a coach that does all of that, avoid like the plague. Whereas the green flags, and this is basically everything that Angus did, they ask about your life outside of the gym. They ask you, what is the why behind the programming? Why do you want to change? What do you want to achieve from the programming? Then they can obviously match the training to help your goals rather than just their perception of making you look better for their own Instagram posts. They adjust, and Angus had been very, very good at this, to be honest. When I said I wanted to get jacked for summer or shredded for summer, he adjusted. So they adjust according to your feedback. But yeah, they've got relevant qualifications, but I mean, that's, I think, just about everybody. but it's real applied experience. Now, when I first started with Angus, you could argue, well, actually, he didn't have much applied experience, but he'd been training with his own coach, who's an incredible guy. So, and his own coach was like, anyway, coached a very famous football team, was strength and conditioning coach, and also was unbelievably jacked himself. So that gave me a lot of confidence as well. So I think all of those things are really, really important to think about. Green flags, red flags.
Absolutely. I think the obvious thing is hire the coach who's got a podcast with a client of 8 years. I think that's quite... No, but I mean, that is, when people ask me what is something that makes you unique, I'm sat here 150 plus episodes in with someone I've worked with and become best mates with over an 8-year period. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens from years of dedication. So 5 years of coaching before this podcast. And that is every single week. Obviously, we did in-person stuff, which is now very much evolved to online. But we talk literally every day. I care deeply about him, but the same thing happens for all my clients. I have amazing relationships with the ones that I always say get stuck in, though. You know, the ones who lean in the most, the ones who ask questions. And a lot of people might say, oh, I didn't have the best experience with so-and-so. And if I ask them about their experience, they might say the trainer wasn't engaged, but sometimes I do question the ones who haven't reached out themselves. But when I hear people go, yeah, I'll message my trainer and they'll get back to me in a couple of days, I was like, that is shocking. Like, a couple of days. And also, if you're a coach listening to this, and I see it all the time, if you say you can contact me between 9 till 5, Monday to Friday, who do you think you are? Like, most of my clients, particularly obviously UK based, they're training either in the morning or evening. So if I'm not online, particularly like in the evening where someone is like slogging their way through at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and you're just not going to reply till 10 o'clock the next day, it's not very motivational,
Well, I mean,
is it?
if I said that to my clients in finance, they'd say,
Exactly.
What, you know? Like, the idea that you have sort of fixed hours of work in this life is ridiculous.
It's insane.
Obviously, people are aware the person's going to be asleep, the person's on holiday, it's a public holiday, whatever. But if there's something important, then of course they're going to respond to you. It's like, you can't just say you can't message me in these times. It's totally ridiculous.
And if you want clients that will pay you good money, you have to work round the clock. Exactly. And it's not about like absolutely grueling yourself, but being accessible. And that's one thing I always say. I will always get back to my client at the soonest point I possibly can. So right now, when we're recording this podcast, I obviously can't reply. But after the podcast finish, I will actually go on my WhatsApp while G-Dog starts highlighting for the next episode, have a look through, see who's messaged me and go, actually, yeah, let's get back to that. Let's change this. And then I'll be back on the podcast. And that's how you run a good coaching business.
But also, the Journal of Sports Science and Coaching concluded that rapport and trust are the strongest predictors of a client's adherence in a program over 12 weeks. Now, I would add additional to that, I think some people will say that trust and rapport is the only thing they've got. So they'll have a coach and they'll become embedded in the relationship because they get on with them. But you need way more than that. Just getting on with your coach is not enough.
You need to be pushed.
You need to
100%.
be pushed, you need progress, and you need to feel that you're going to be challenged by the coach, as opposed to they just accept that you're a bit rubbish.
And
don't accept that.
And that is what a good mate would do as well.
Yeah.
And so when you do become mates with a trainer, and I do see it happen where people don't get as good a results because they're so matey with their trainer, and then they get stuck in that sunk cost fallacy of being with that trainer for years on years. Have conversations at that moment. Say, oh, I don't feel like I'm seeing the results. Go, okay, how do we address that? If the trainer just says, oh, keep going, give it your best shot, that's not good enough. You need answers.
And you do see a lot of people who the coach literally just turns into a friend and nothing else.
Yeah.
And they just go along for that 1 hour for a chat and they don't push themselves in the session. They don't learn anything. It's just a total disaster.
Bang on. Anything else you'd like to add,
Done.
So you should hire a coach. No, but look, if you're obviously in a financial situation where coaching for you is not an option right now, I totally understand that. But I just strongly believe at some point, if you really want to start seeing results that you've never seen before, you will need to invest in your fitness journey. However way you want to do it, but working with someone one-to-one who really knows what they're talking about and can get you the results, it will be utterly transformational for you.
The best coach you will ever have is an educated version of yourself. Hiring a coach makes you more educated.
Good one to finish on that, G-Dog. And on that note, guys, thank you once again for tuning into the Live for Life podcast. I cannot wait for you to all DM me and say, Angus, I want you as my coach. For any questions, just DM me. I am very much open when it comes to answering your DMs.
You can increase your price like token price in AI, if that happens.
Yeah.
Just excess demand. Price doubling.
Guys, please like, rate, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.